The video review will start in a few seconds, but as a reminder, remember if you have a question, comment, or a suggestion about this video review, the link is provided on the page below. Hello again, I'm Rodney Reynolds from 3GameMan.com and welcome to another video review. Today I'm looking at the Thermaltake Overseer RX-I Case. The case box does look quite nice, all kinds of pictures of the product on it, as well as lots of features and specifications about the product. Now let me go ahead and open this up. Now this is a full tower case, so it's, kind of on the big side when it comes to the box, but I'll still open it from the top. Your typical case packaging material, styrofoam on either end, and the case itself is in a plastic bag. Let me take it out and let's have a closer look. They've got protective plastic on the left side window, both on the outside and on the inside. This is a full tower case. It's all black, comprised mainly of steel and plastic, but there's lots of mesh on this case as well. And as you can see, the overall design on it is a bit on the radical side, but it's still quite nice looking. At the top, there's lots of mesh. They include one 200mm blue LED exhaust fan, and you can install another optional 200mm fan as well. Removal of the top panel is extremely easy. Just kind of push up here at the back and wiggle it a little bit and it comes off. You can see the large 200mm fan that they do include. You can also install other fan sizes up here as well, and there should be no problem installing a large radiator here as well. Now the top panel is connected with a bunch of wires, although you can easily unplug them so you can take the top panel completely off, which is extremely nice. At the top there's an external hot swappable drive bay. These are fantastic, and you can install a 3.5-inch drive or a 2.5-inch drive in this. Let me show you. It's as simple as pushing it down. It'll snap into place. It's installed. If you want to remove it, you pull it out. Same goes for a 2.5-inch drive. There are two USB 3 ports, two USB 2 ports, an external serial ATA or eSATA port, as well as a microphone and headphone jack. Here's the reset button and the power button. And in the center, they have this breathe lighting effect. There are two more LEDs at the top, one on the left side for hard drive activity, and the other one on the right side, which is the power LED. At the front, there are three external 5.25-inch drive bays and a single external 3.5-inch drive bay. And note all the mesh here as well, including on the drive bay covers. Now, if you want to remove this front panel, no problem. Pull from the bottom, it'll pop right off. Another humongous fan at the front as well. This is the same as the top one, a 200mm blue LED fan, but this one intakes cool air. And note that the front panel has a removable dust filter for that fan, and as well all of the drive bay covers double as dust filters. Note that there are these plates over most of the drive bays. Why do they do this? Well, it's to block most of the air and direct it to the right place, and in this case it would be the front fan. Note though that the top one is left open, and that's because in most situations you're going to at least use one of the 5.25-inch drive bays. The left side panel has this punch out, a cool window, and a large area right here, which now has a dust filter in it. However, you can install an optional 200mm fan here if you choose. And by the way, this filter that is on the left side panel is removable. The right side panel is plain except for this punch chip. That will come in handy because it will give you extra space behind the motherboard tray. At the back of the case, you have a little clip right here. This is to organize all those cables, like keyboard cables, mouse cables, and that type of thing. Kind of a nice little addition. They include a 120mm exhaust fan. Here's where the motherboard's I/O shield plate gets installed. A couple of rubber grommeted holes. This is to route cables and or water cooling tubes through. They include 8 ventilated expansion slots, and at the bottom is where a standard ATX power supply gets installed. As well, they include 4 thumb screws, 2 on each side panel. Now this is a full tower case, but it isn't as large as some other full tower cases, so keep that in mind. The interior is black. Note that they have lots of holes on the motherboard tray so you can route cables behind it. Now there's lots of space behind the motherboard tray and the right side panel, so you'll be able to get lots of cables back there, which is great because you can get them out of the main part of the case, and this will increase airflow inside of the case. Also note the very large hole on the motherboard tray for the cooler's retention plate, but note that the motherboard tray is not removable. On the back of the motherboard tray, you can see that there's plenty of space to route cables, also lots of places to attach them. They have these punch outs all over the place. The 3 5¼ drive bays have a toolless design. You can also install up to 5 3.5" or 5 2.5" drives. Simply slide this out, install the drive, and slip it back in. Now you can also install a 3.5" or 2.5" drive here. At the bottom of the case, you have a couple of options. You can install a very long power supply, or you can install a short power supply, and to be honest, most power supplies, even the high wattage ones today, are short, and then install an optional 120mm or 140mm fan at the bottom. And you can fit power supplies that are approximately 350mm in length, video cards that are 344mm in length, and CPU coolers that are 177mm in height. At the bottom are 4 feet. Each one of these feet has a rubber insert. Note that these feet are very high. The height on these feet are 30mm, much higher than standard case feet. Now the reason why they did this, of course, is to allow the bottom fan or fans to intake cool air. You're going to have one fan down here for sure, the power supply fan, a very important fan. Let's face it, if you have your case on the floor and you have carpet, and the carpet is very long, your case feet are going to sink down into that carpet, and your fan or fans, well, they're not going to be able to do what they're supposed to do, and that is intake lots of cool air. Now, that's the good. The bad would be that this will make the case on a hard surface probably a little bit more unstable, more prone to tipping over than if you had, shorter standard case feet. But I think overall it's a great idea. As well, they include a removable dust filter. You just slide it out, clean it, and then slide it back in. Now have a listen to the stock cooling. So how does this case compare to other full tower cases currently on the market? Well, it has pretty much everything you should be looking for in a full tower case, and then some. However, the case isn't as big as some other full tower cases. And if you're looking for a full tower case, you might just be looking for a case that's a little bit larger than this one. This is kind of like an oversized mid-tower case. Now also, unfortunately, the motherboard tray is not removable. That's not an issue for some, for others it is. All things considered, the overall styling, build quality, and features, this is a 100% kick-ass product. Until next time, take care.